Hello and a very warm welcome to you all. This is your 9th, 10th, or 11th favorite reality TV recap podcast. It's Blighty Day Fiance. My name is Michelle, and with me today, the Jewish version of who are those two newscasters that ended up getting married? Intro is not going to work. Joining me today is Jack, and who's that lady to your left?
Well, hello everybody. Nice to be here as usual. And with us today is my wife, Lady Diana.
Hi everyone. Thanks, Jack, for letting me out of the prayer closet.
In case you haven't guessed from context, today we are talking about season 6, episode 1 of Welcome to Plathville. I have to say that last season was one of the most harrowing and depressing and difficult slogs of reality television that I have gone through in the last 30 years of watching this stuff. In fact, I am told by my invisible producer that Jack and Diana didn't even make it past the first episode.
Now, Michelle, you're speaking out of school. We noped out halfway through episode 3 of season 5.
Okay. And listeners, if that was you, I don't blame you at all. You didn't miss much. What you did miss was traumatic and frustrating and extremely triggering to probably 99.9% of the audience, I hope. But never mind that, because today is a new day. We have been blessed. s6e is looking down upon us with kindness and charity in his eyes, and he hath bestowed upon us this beautiful episode entitled, You Kept the Plants Alive.
Really kind of like emotional title for this emotional episode. Yeah, look, I think that we have a lot more going for us in this season, at least in the opener for sure. And it's probably because everyone's in a bit of a different place in their lives. We don't have everyone kind of... Last year in the beginning, it felt like people were coasting a little bit. I'm going to mention here Micah, who didn't love last season. Getting a little too big for his britches.
Or as my Norwegian friend, my best friend from college, used to say, he's getting too hot in his shirt, which is to say another way of saying too big for your britches, too comfortable.
I mean, he does love to take off that shirt at any chance he can get, so...
Yes. And we will talk about Micah and everyone else. I think we'll probably start with Micah. So what we'll do, rather than going through the episode beat for beat, because it's just not our style, we're going to start with Micah. Then we'll talk about Ethan and Olivia, then Kim and Barry, then Moriah. And we don't really have big updates on the tertiary family members yet. Small update on the sentient bag of cockroaches that is Ken. And speaking of Ken, Micah looks like a Ken doll in that beige Letterman jacket that matches all of the decor in the house that he shares with a very special lady. A lady who remains
nameless,
shrouded by golden locks of long blonde hair.
I thought that they looked a little related, and I didn't know where they were going with this storyline.
Just like Barry and his running partner. A little too close for comfort there, maybe.
Oh, they're creepy.
Yeah, so look, Micah grew weary of giving wristies for rent. If you don't know, if you can't smell what I'm stepping in, please don't Google it at work. I think he got tired of being one in a series of hard male bodies at auditions, and when he wasn't the special anointed Sun King anymore, it started to lose its appeal. So I think he was probably going to head home anyway, regardless. I don't really think the relationship drove him moving per se, but I do think he has exchanged his life and goals and dreams and aspirations for a relationship.
A serious relationship.
A troubling relationship. And
an upsetting relationship.
We don't tend to go in hard on appearances on this show, but because this is such a huge part of Micah's identity, which he demonstrates by taking his shirt off almost immediately. I've noticed that the Plath men all have these like super high nipples that are like way up here, like their pecs kind of end like at the tops of their
nipples
armpits.
Are like by the collarbone.
Yeah, which I haven't really seen before. I'm not into blondes, but man, was I into Micah before season 5, when it was legal to be into Micah, of course. I just thought he had a light behind his eyes, and that seems to have dimmed. And there are lots of I don't want to dominate the conversation here, of course, but talk to me, Jack and Diana, about the red flags that we've picked up from what Micah has said about this relationship.
Well, first, Micah talks about how he hasn't really had a serious relationship before until he met this woman that he's with now. Immediately, now you mentioned that he matches the decor of the apartment or the house. He didn't pick out anything in that house. There's a troubling, I know we talk about this a lot, but there's a troubling amount of word art in this home. Like a lot, to the point where it almost looks homemade, but it's obviously not. And Micah's like a different person. He has a little bit of like a captive type of vibe to him right now.
Yeah, captive. Like he has a stare that he has turned off the lights, shut it down, and he has said, let's let this person lead me now. I'm going to stop thinking for myself, which he only did for maybe a year or two, which I guess maybe he didn't feel worked out well for him. So he has again stopped thinking for himself, and he's found a new
religion.
Yeah.
He's found a new religion.
He has. And it is the religion of Laura Ashley dresses and, Barbie, word art.
Mermaid vibes.
He makes me think of a song. He just makes me, when you were describing him, I just heard like vacant eyes. That's what he's got. He's got vacant eyes.
He does have vacant eyes. He's also hollowing out a little bit in the face, which normally comes with age. However, upon further reflection, I said this to you both, men tend to gain weight when they're happy, especially in new relationships / marriages. I will not hear of this nonsense about like, oh, you put the ring on her and then she blows up and gets fat. Fuck all of you. That's disgusting. Yeah, when men are happy, they tend to put on weight unless they're having an affair, in which case they're at the gym, that weight's going to drop right off. Don't say I didn't warn you.
I'm slim. I don't know what to make of any of this.
Nobody needs to hear that, Jack. Really.
Jack, nobody needs... This is not my body...
I'm sorry. I got a little lost in the Micah moment. So let me remove Micah from my brain.
Did you want to remove your shirt too?
Only because you both asked me to.
When we get to 500 members on our Patreon, Jack and I can't speak for Diana. I don't want to pressure her in that way, but Jack and I will be topless on these recordings. I will wear special pasties because one of my nipples is inverted and it's not for public consumption.
You'll get all 2 of my nipples.
Do you think because he looks like such a Ken doll that his girlfriend took him to the Barbie movie and like dressed up and
Nope,
did a
too
whole
feminist.
Oh, right. I forgot where we are in the Bible Belt.
Yeah.
Oh, and we are not going to find this out now. This is just for future casting here. How old do you think, because Micah's 22, how old would you say the girlfriend is? Because I said, I was guessing 25, 27, something like that. I think she's older.
I think she's older. I think she could possibly have broken 30, which worries me because I'm scared that she's going to get pregnant and this is going to be a permanent situation. Now his buddy Will comes down from LA.
Micah's words.
We don't have to snark too hard on the geography there, but they were homeschooled and they probably didn't see an accurate map of America. They probably saw like the Confederate map of the states. So for all they know, California is like where Ontario is. Like
it's up there somewhere.
It's up there somewhere, yeah. Now, Will tells us that he witnessed a little bit of a tiff. And he just wants to see whether that's kind of the order of the day or if that was maybe a one-off kind of thing. We know from the way that Will is talking about this that it's not a one-off kind of a thing.
I do appreciate that. Like, I really wanted to know, like, what was the tiff? Give me the, tit for tat. What happened? But I do appreciate Will being a good friend and not, saying anything, not ratting it out, just kind of saying that he saw something and he's curious. But his conversation with Micah, there are a lot more red flags and you can just feel the tension and discomfort that Micah is already feeling. And if he's already kind of sharing those feelings out with the cameras before we even meet her or know her name, there's bigger problems.
The thing about Micah too is you can always tell when he's repeating something that he's heard. Like last season, many viewers, I'm sure, noticed that he was just parroting things that Kim had said, and he would parrot it to Moriah, and she would say it back, and it was just that kind of thing.
That was the boomerang of awfulness last season.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So, he says, it's a fun little life I've been having down here.
While he's digging a trench in the Florida heat. It's a fun little life.
It's a fun little life. So look, Micah my heart's broken for him a little bit. He's crawled back in between the cracks and I'm afraid he's there to stay until the next stupid fucking thing he says. Let's move on to Ethan and Olivia. So they've been separated for several months now. Olivia has been staying in California. I don't even know how to begin to unpack what happens here.
This was This really felt like this was fly on the wall stuff because it felt like we were in that where are they? In the Minnesota apartment as this was all going down. It feels awful. It feels like they haven't spoken in about 3 months or so, 2-3 months. We get that Olivia kind of just left, and there was not a lot of discussion. The tension super high. I actually started getting a little emotional here, watching Ethan so upset, and they get to it, which we'll get to, but he's so upset and he can't really access it properly to explain what he's feeling at all. I don't know. Did you get that, Michelle?
I think Diana's the best person to speak on this, really, and no one needs to know why.
Okay, so if you think about your own relationship while you're watching these, it's even more painful. So that's always fun. But when I watch these, I definitely connect more with Ethan and think of Jack more as Olivia. Just in terms of any of you Enneagram people out there, Olivia is definitely a 4. And Ethan is a 9, like me, possibly a 5, but most likely a 9. And we struggle to feel our emotions at the surface. They get stuffed way down deep, and it's really hard to access them. And it can often, when it comes out, just come out as anger, because the hurt is just too painful. So this is really very hard to watch. Like, you can see this deep sorrow and pain that's down under him, but he cannot even really access it. It is stuffed so far down. And he doesn't want any of this to happen, but he also has no other way of coping. Like, he has not been in a life where he knows how to cope with any of his emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And he's had a wife who's been able to help bring those out in him. But now when they're at odds and, their values are at odds, everything is at odds. Like, he looks so broken, and I feel for both people in this whole debacle. It's a really sad kind of turn of events and a sad ending for these two.
Well, is it an ending? That's what we're going to see. And look, it's, I guess when I'm saying the fly on the wall thing, maybe it just feels like you're watching like a piece of your own life or something like that, because it's just so raw.
Can I ask
right there.
you both a personal question? So you have been together for 20 years, and basically have not known adulthood without each other. So this has got to hit home, pretty close to home for both of you, because you know what it's like to kind of go out into the world as a couple and experience adulthood and kind of grow and change and all of that. Do either or both of you feel like you've taken turns kind of raising the other one? Do you feel like it has that been even? What talk to me about that experience?
A resounding yes.
Lady Di, would you like to go first, please?
It's interesting. I'm going to trigger him right now by bringing up my therapist mother. But I remember way at the beginning of our relationship, when we were literally children, her saying, because we were both, kind of slow to grow up. We were, struggling to kind of break out of the nest, and we were both kind of still very kid-like in a lot of ways. And I remember her saying, one of you is going to grow up and you're going to have to see if you're going to be able to take the other one along and help the other one, or if you guys are going to, not be able to handle that. And I think, we've had plenty of struggles, obviously, throughout, 20 years, some bigger than others. I think we have both taken on both roles at different times. I think there have been times where I've been mommy and taken care of a lot of things, but I also think there's been plenty of times where I've needed Jack to be able to grow and pull out of my shell. And so it's really that give and take and pull and push. And can we find a way to come together and continue to grow together? What do you think, dear?
Well, I just noticed that you called yourself mommy, but you didn't call me daddy. I will point out, so we've been together for 20 years. We've been married for, what is this, 10th anniversary coming up this weekend? 11th anniversary coming up this weekend. Sorry, I thought it was 2023 for a second. Legit. And we were also separated for 2 years from, what was that, 2018 and into the pandemic. So I would say that this scene definitely struck me as familiar in the most uncomfortable of ways. But and I agree with what Diana said there about the taking turns raising each other, for sure. But we've learned a lot, right? We've been together for so long. We know each other so well. We've learned a lot. So, you can come back from things. You can figure out things a little bit different. When we're looking at this situation on the show, I think it's maybe a little different.
Yeah, I agree. We're reminded that through a flashback from last year that Ethan made a list of hills that he was prepared to die on. And
she did say, what did she say? She said he was writing a long list, and he's like, it was 3 things.
But if those
big 3 things,
yeah,
big 3 things.
and big 3 things that aren't revealed, but I thought there was an exchange that I'll paraphrase and make slightly shorter, but she said, it took me far too long to realize you were always going to pick your family over me. And then he immediately says, because you made me choose.
That really broke my heart.
Yep. That cut a very deep, that cut very deep for me too. I, in my first marriage, had a very difficult family situation. My mother-in-law was enabling my alcoholic and drug addict husband to the point where I really felt like, and doctors were telling me that he was going to die. And lots of things happened. I've made references to them before. I don't feel the need to go into it today, but yeah, that you two are a testament to that kind of healthy growth and change that happens over time between couples. I wasn't that lucky in my first marriage.
I think values do have a lot to do with that. And I think that is the big reason why these two aren't working out. Is I don't know exactly what was on the list. I don't know if last season they really talked about it, but I think a lot of it did have to do with their value systems. And that's a really hard thing if you grow apart with like your basic values of what you want out of life or what you expect with raising a family. That'll tear any even a successful relationship apart.
And he's still so deeply entrenched in this idea. And again, it reminds me another, I remember people telling me endlessly, oh, the first year of marriage is the hardest. And now I'm like, really? I don't know about that.
Same.
But another, whatever, what do you call it? Colloquialism, something like that people say is that women get married to men hoping that they'll change, and men marry women hoping that they never will.
Oh, that's very apt for this couple here. And obviously, look, I mean, if you watch the show, you know what's going on here, but we get that little run through of Ethan, all of Ethan's firsts with Olivia. We get the tasting Coca-Cola, listening to a rock record, going through everything. And it's, I don't know. I'm curious, would you say that Ethan actually grew? Did he grow because of Olivia? Did she start resenting the fact that everything was new? I'm just curious what your take is as to where, and not the whole, not a post-mortem on this, because they might, we don't know what happened with them, but I'm just curious what your overall, we didn't talk about this. I'm curious what your overall take is from their relationship.
God, we don't have enough time. We really don't have enough time. I think I can talk somewhat briefly about like the situation they're in now and where I think they're both coming from.
That's what I meant.
Yeah. So look, I mean, Olivia has had, and it's no secret, Olivia's my favorite. Okay. That doesn't mean I co-sign every single thing she's ever said or done. I think that she's been really shitty and uncharitable and ungenerous and dishonest with herself and with her in-laws and with the Plaths in general. But I think, in an ideal relationship, you grow and you grow together. And I think she did change a lot over a short period of time, but she's been shamed for every choice that she's made as an adult. She's been shamed by her family. She's been shamed by the Plaths. she hasn't found a lot of acceptance. And for somebody who's moving through life with so little acceptance of who she is and so little validation of what she wants, and of her feelings and her experiences and what she's been through, I admire her so much. And I feel like she has lived 3 lifetimes already before she's even 30. So I think that's very difficult to reconcile with, like, she's always going to love him. Mm-hmm. And I have no, he keeps saying, oh, she doesn't care, right? She doesn't care. And I'm sure he feels that way. But she absolutely cares, because she could be doing this from a distance and she's not. And I don't think that it's just for the show. But in terms of like, I think that she checked out of this relationship mentally a very long time ago, probably with some help and support.
She was waiting for him to let her go.
Yes,
so to speak.
Exactly. And she talks about what a relief it was when he finally said it was done, because she really didn't want to give up. But she felt that sense of release. I think from his perspective, she betrayed him in many ways. And I have found in my personal experience, and some of you may not agree with me here, and that's fine, but when you meet a man who is loyal, that man is loyal forever. And whether you're still with him or you go somewhere else, I'm really lucky to have people in my life, men in my life, who are loyal to me. And that doesn't mean that, they prize me above every other relationship in their life. It just means that in some way they consider me a part of them or theirs in some way. And so they're protective of me. They invest in my life. They care about me. I wish I had thought of a way to turn that into a financial arrangement before I got married again. But, that's my poor looking out. So I think Ethan is loyal. I think he loves her. I think he will love her forever. But I can't imagine what it would take to pull him out of his own asshole.
Well, he loves her, but he's the kind who, holds her too tight, and she is a person who needs to spread her wings. She has such a big life ahead of her. She wants such a big life, and she's worked so hard to create a big life. I mean, I believe, was really the catalyst, the spark plug for not just Ethan, but for his entire family.
Yep.
Right? She was for Moriah getting her out, and Micah then getting her out. And even the one who hates her the most, Mama Kim, right? She taught her how to use the internet or whatever other thing.
Yep.
She brought that whole family into a new world, into this world that they're in now. And she got villainized for it by them. And they were able to use her as she's the problem.
Yep.
I wouldn't even say villainized. I'd say demonized. And I think one of the things that really hit me was Olivia's not going to have a problem finding the next guy she's interested in. She's comfortable with herself. She's beautiful, worldly, right? Where, like, what does Ethan's life look like? And we're not going to future cast here, but I'm just, you know what I mean? Like, what does this look like? He's in Minnesota now, and I don't know where this town is, so it might be near something larger, but, it's just he's going and hanging out with his grandparents and working on his old cars, so it's kind of like the same loner lifestyle that he had back in Georgia.
Yeah, although I note that he is never alone and always busy. Which is very telling. Busy, doing.
Well, he does even say that he was getting his aggression out at the gym. So you're right. I mean, even when he's chilling out, he's working out,
He is working to avoid every feeling that is going through his bones that he cannot come to terms with.
Yep. And I think I think the biggest thing Olivia did was she pulled this family out of the stasis they were in following the trigger warning death of Kim and Barry's son, Joshua. I think, and I want to give credit where credit is due, and I'm so sorry if I'm misattributing this, but I believe it was Matt Maher who said that these kids are all frozen at the developmental age that they were when their sibling tragically died.
Yeah.
And I think, Olivia forced them to confront that grief and forced them to grow up and to, I mean, not forced herself, but her presence was like that. And I guess to put a button on where Ethan and Olivia are now, I would say I can't imagine that he could ever, wherever he goes, meet anyone as curious about the world, as engaging, as intelligent, as beautiful as Olivia, who also has that shared past.
He
right?
will not, and he cannot, and I don't think he even wants to.
No.
I think he is going to eventually, when he's going to find somebody who kind of takes charge, but who is very kind of homebound, very much like the way he grew up, not as extreme, but I think he's going to find somebody who just kind of is very basic. I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that I wonder if that would be, I wonder what anyone's position would be if Kim and Barry hadn't have split up, and we'll talk about them next. Jack?
Oh no, are we moving into Kim?
Before we move in, I just want before we move in,
Our new co-host is taking over the show.
Get out of my way. No, I was just going to say that like they kind of tease the future of Ethan and Olivia. And do you guys think that's just, a tease to us?
It's a lie. It's a lie. It's a lie.
Now, I'm not usually the one on this side here, but I don't know that it's going to be as simple as you two both think it's going to be. Olivia looked like she was getting a little bit caught up. And I'll tell you why. I mean, one of the things, I can't bring the divorce papers because, I'd have to go print them or something. Oh, was this like Sunday at like 4:00 in the morning? Like, why? How many pages is this?
No, and you don't have to do this stuff in person together. This can all be done.
Well, that's why I'm wondering, maybe, I think to some degree, and we'll move off of them, but there is a discussion about closure and, Ethan wanting closure and Olivia sort of apologizing for not giving him that or not being able to give him that. And maybe that's all it's going to be. But I hope that, however, if this goes into the divorce bin here, I hope that Ethan does get some sort of closure or at least understanding as to why this occurred for him.
And I just want to pour one out in memory of all the dry humping they did in the back seat of his car when they were
what about
they were married.
Can I pour one out for the soaking that they did?
Ethan Plath would never. If you disagree, come at us. Now, I was hoping we could go to Barry quickly because there isn't a whole lot new apart from that his wife in situ, Lydia, has for all intents and purposes gone traveling.
Good for her.
Yeah. Well, I have a terrible feeling it's something to do with
missionary
proselytizing. Work. Yeah. So I'm not that excited.
Oh, you're right. Because I didn't even think. I was like, oh, look, she's seeing the world. That's fantastic. And now you had to ruin it, Michelle.
Yes, but I do want to say that I changed my position on Barry last year when I saw him prioritize his children during a time when their home was broken up, when their mother could not or would not offer them emotional stability because she was too busy getting rimmed by a sentient bag of cockroaches. Ken. I think Barry is great, and I love this second chance at fatherhood. It made me really emotional last year, especially and I know Diana lost her father as well in recent years. We have that unfortunate thing in common. But Barry really changed in such a just awe-inspiring way. And I know that you shouldn't give people credit for doing what they're supposed to, but what a fucking 180, like going from this draconian, almost kind of Mennonite style
Cult.
way of living. Yeah. And then he's accepting his daughter and her tattoos and her fucking dog that isn't trained and will definitely kill someone.
Oof.
And I'm a dog lover. I'm saying this is unfair to the dog.
The dog weighs more than Moriah, so
way more. We will get to her, but look.
Oh, speaking of dogs, hold on a second. While we're on Barry here, so as they fake, who's Barry's running partner, you both said it's a dog, and I said I hope it's a woman. Or, whoever he's dating or something. And then we saw legs. And then you were both then immediately on the side of, oh, he's got a woman. And I was like, that's Moriah. That's Moriah. That's Moriah.
Well, he, like Michelle said, he sent one wife off to her missionary duties. And so he had to keep the other, he needs a wife at home at all times to take care of everything. So, daughter, wife, it's close enough.
Michelle, are you going to go get the same tattoos that Moriah has on her body?
No. I would like to be buried in a Jewish cemetery next to my Jewish husband. So no, I will not.
So, Barry, and I do just want to second what you're saying there about Barry, which Diana and I had the same feeling in the portions of the season we saw last year. And I forgot, and you just reminded me that was one of the things about all of the kids that was pissing me off last year was when they started, I think there was a scene where Micah might have been having lunch with Kim or something last season, and kind of
when she was dressed up for a date.
Yes,
yeah,
that's the one. And he was like just kind of forgiving her like nothing ever happened, and it was like, and Barry's an asshole, and I was like, you guys suck,
Yeah, they bet on the wrong horse, and never is it more. I just want to point out which daughter gets to live in the house and which ones ended up on the houseboat. I'm like, I get why Lydia took off, because Lydia and Moriah can't stand each other.
Wait, none of the kids live on the houseboat, correct?
No, but they're visiting.
Yeah, fair enough.
And in all seriousness, I don't think I think Lydia is the co-parent. I don't think Kim has seen very much of them.
What does that make Kim? Is she like a cousin? Like, what is
she's
she?
Auntie Kim, Auntie Mom.
Yeah, Kim decided she shares with us that finances are tight, which means she is broke, y'all.
What are you talking about? She's living on a beautiful houseboat with a U-shaped bed in the stern.
Wait, are we moving into our below deck episode now of Kim's super yacht?
This is
below deck St. Mark's, Florida.
This was bleak. I mean, when she tries to sell this to the audience, insulting our intelligence by saying, well, they get to have a hiking trail and swimming and okay, yeah, and also gators and mosquitoes, and
the bathroom at the marina is really large and luxurious.
Yes.
Though, Michelle.
The bathroom at the marina.
I have a half brother who I don't know that well, but he lived on a houseboat for a while here in California in Long Beach. And I saw pictures of it not too long ago. And this was also like 30 years ago. And the boat was definitely newer, bigger, and nicer than what Kim's living on. This looked like a camper van, tied, kind of like floating in the water, just sitting. And there's a bathroom with a shower. What did you say about the shower, Michelle? I forgot what you said about Kim in the shower.
Jack, I think that's home talk. I think
it is. It was sexual. You were talking about some sexual feelings towards Kim, but it did.
Don't insult her like that, please.
No. I'm just cleaning up your wording there, but no. So they're going into the beautiful bathrooms there, right? And she's trying to also upsell that, being like, the kids like it. The kids like it because the bathrooms are so clean. What part of this do the kids like? There's no room.
Cassie has only had athlete's foot twice. I mean, now, Diana...
They all have pink eye in both eyes.
Yes, Diana, you and I both know what it's like to have a mom when you're 12 years old. I don't think I ever, between the ages of 12 and probably 30, said everyone makes mistakes in reference to my mother. Absolutely. Can you share where you were with your mom?
I would not stick up for her at that age if my life depended on it. Now, I was a little bit of a rude girl, and I definitely had my anger towards my mother at that tender age of 12. And I believe her favorite thing to remind me of is that before we moved out of our apartment and into my stepdad's apartment, I wrote all over my wall in my bedroom, "I hate Cheryl the shithead." So, it was really, really great. And of course, I had to hear about how I'm the worst for that. But I definitely wouldn't have been defending her. I was embarrassed, beyond belief. What teen or preteen is not embarrassed by their mother?
These ones. Oh. And it's the way that that's refrigerator magnet alone.
Her turn. My turn.
And the way that she holds cutlery like Jack holds a pen, but one in each hand. It's this weird kind of I wish I had a pen next to me.
Someone who learned how to hold a pen from their lefty older sister, but isn't actually a lefty. So if you can picture the claw that the lefties have to do, but in your right hand.
Shade. I believe, now this one I'm going to share. Okay. This is something that you did say while we were watching this, and I'm going to quote you here. She holds her silverware like a, quote, fucking monster.
No, you said that.
Oh, that was my quote?
Yeah.
I'm reading your notes.
No,
you're fair. That's
you
true.
Said that she holds her cutlery like a fucking monster.
I also said she had a trout mouth, so that was said too. I hate her so much.
I do too.
Same.
This is not a pro Kim. This is not a pro KP podcast. So if you're here for Kim's journey, I can happily direct you elsewhere.
I'm here for Barry's Riz and Drip. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
I would love to know if somebody actually is on Kim's side and why. Really, okay, you can take the woman's side. There's plenty of, but I want to know for real, what has she shown or proven that she is a good person? In any way, shape, or form, that she cares about others. Yeah.
Where's the accountability? Where's the responsibility for any of the hurt that she hath wrought within her own family?
I think you were mixing up wrought and her wrath, because she's got wrath. She does.
Yeah, she does. And last but not least, it's Moriah.
I love her new ITM look where she's like now in that sophisticated kind of 90s female R&B star look with the oversized blazer and suit. She's really trying to be like sophisticated instead of trashy.
Also, she needs to tell, it's more important to tell the audience what she learned from her relationship instead of telling them what happened or what was hidden, because she kept that part private. And then there's a single tear running down her face. It's not poor me. It's learn and do better, but also poor me.
Can you put that on a t-shirt, please? Thank you.
Actually, can you just get it tattooed down your forearms? That would be fantastic.
I'm sure she's got. Go get a tattoo about it, Moriah.
What? And that was a fantastic impression. What the fuck was that? They never do that shit on these shows. They either don't mention it or they mention it and mention it. This was like a weird, like pussyfooting of nothing. Like, who is this guy? Is he a producer? Like, what is this?
He was somebody who really convinced the male members of my family that he was here for me and that he cared for me very deeply, and he betrayed me in such a horrible way that I can't talk about it right even now.
And that's about all we got from Moriah.
Yeah, shout out to Isaac, who is flying the plane that Kim and Cockroach Ken bought his silence for. Yeah, that's about it.
All right, bye everyone. No, just kidding. No, let's have, hold on, let's do this because we're close to wrapping up, folks. But I want to get some we're not just in terms of how you think the season's going to play out a little bit, or what you think, or any up next thoughts or anything like that from both of you.
I think the kids are on to Ken, who has some very unpopular opinions and beliefs that I certainly would not want to be in a relationship with or co-sign or be a part of in any way, shape, or form. But that's between him and Kim. I'm not sure she's going to get the kids' buy-in for that particular sentient bag of cockroaches. I think I don't want Ethan and Olivia to get back together. I don't think there's I think they've gone as far as they can go together, and they need to be, silently supportive of each other as they go forward in their lives. And hopefully they can one day look back very fondly on the time that they shared and the love that they have for each other. I hope someone gets Micah out of this relationship because I'm not looking forward to where it's going. I think the not appearing on camera at first is a piece of manipulation.
Power move.
Yeah,
totally.
Huge power move. I think she's going to be very difficult. And if she can't control how she appears on TV and when people start responding to her, that is going to go south very quickly, or north, as the Plaths would say. And I think Moriah's going to do her same stupid shit about this. I mean, look, are they trying to leverage this into a world tour? Probably. Am I going to go see them? No, I'm not.
Promise?
Well, if they come out here, we'd kind of have to.
If they play the Greek theater, we'll go see them.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Just as someone who didn't meet Ken last season, you've made him sound so appealing. I just really can't wait to get to know him throughout this season. So it's something I'm really looking forward to.
So if I told you that he shares a lot of the same values as David Duke, for example.
Oh, my kind of guy.
Yeah.
Wait. Hold on. I'm sorry. And we're not, this is the end. We're wrapping up here. Does he have like KKK level beliefs? Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
Oh, fascinating.
Just
Lovely.
going by what social media has
Ah,
revealed
okay.
about him. I would say that we are not his kind of people based on the kind of people that we are.
He doesn't like quarter Sicilians?
And women.
And Diana, you have any further thoughts on where you think this is going?
I agree that I think they'll play out a little bit of Ethan and Olivia, and there's still love there. So, yes, there'll be a draw, but it looks like she's going to find a new man and explore herself and her sexuality, and I'm all here for that for her. I think she deserves to have a little fun in bed since she hasn't been. You know, Ethan spends more time manhandling his cars. And I am looking forward to the family all staying together under one roof with both parents and this new cockroach you've mentioned. I think they kind of have the hijinks thing going. So I think they'll, be a little less depressing, a little more superficial fun. And I'm curious to see if Lydia kind of starts to stand up for herself. I'm really rooting for Lydia to kind of find herself and, maybe separate a little bit from her intense
her
religion.
3 children.
Yeah, I think it's time for her to
her
step out on her own.
And I guess the only thing left there is I mentioned it already, but I'm excited to see Barry's Riz.
My name is Michelle, and I am painfully aware that in Ethan's words, there is no closure.
My name's Jack, and I don't want to travel as much as I used to because my girlfriend is here.
And I'm Diana, and I've kept the plants alive.
We
love you. That's it.